And we are back here on the GSMC football podcast. And for the third part of the show, we are now going to talk about the Bills-Dolphins game from last night. Bills getting the win, comeback win, 21-14, and clinching the AFC East. And it wasn't pretty. Josh Allen threw 2 picks in this game. Actually, the first 2 drives of the game ended in interceptions. Then the Dolphins punted. Josh Allen threw another pick. Then, actually, Josh Allen threw a pick when they were near the end zone. And it was on 3rd and goal. And it was for Gabe Davis, miscommunication. Eli Apple ended up picking it off. Dolphins punted. Then Josh Allen threw another pick. He was just throwing it up. And my friend brought up a good point. It's like, why didn't the Dolphins just bat it down? Because it was actually on 4th down, and you would have had it, close to midfield. But yeah, so then that ended up leading to a touchdown drive. Later in the game, him and Tyree connected on a touchdown. But Devon Achane, 25-yard touchdown that put the Dolphins up 7-0. Bills then answered with a touchdown that was set up by a 36-yard reception by Stephon Diggs. Josh Allen connected with Trent Sherfield for a 6-yard touchdown. And what's funny is I didn't even see this, that it got batted up in the air, and then Sherfield caught it in the back of the end zone. He was able to keep his tippy toes in bounds for the touchdown. I thought it was just a great play by Josh Allen, but no, the ball got deflected up in the air, and Sherfield was there to catch it off the deflection in the back of the end zone. It was funny to see Mike McDaniel's face after that. But yeah, so that ended up tying the game. Then the Dolphins, they responded with a touchdown drive. That was to Tyreek Hill. That was a 3-yard touchdown reception. And then the Bills, they were going down the field, and, like what happened with the Giants against the Bills earlier in the season, the Bills run a play. They get stopped at the goal line, basically, and they don't have any timeouts to spike it. And the clock expires, and we have to go into the half. And the Bills left points off the board. And it looked like this was a pass to Ty Johnson. He almost got in, but got stopped. They couldn't clock it, and that's how the first half ended. And Sean McDermott's like, you got to throw that ball to the end zone when they were interviewing him at the end of the half. So yeah, it was 14-7 Dolphins at the half. The Bills actually fumbled in the game. Allen fumbled. It was recovered by Christian Wilkins. And then the Dolphins ended up punting, and they didn't do anything out of that. But Deontay Hardy returned it for 96 yards for a touchdown, so that ended up tying the game. Dolphins then punted, and then the Bills got a touchdown. Josh Allen connected with Dawson Knox for a 5-yard touchdown. Dolphins punted. Bills turned it over on downs. They went for it. It looked like Josh Allen got the first down, but they marked him short. And, talking to my friends in our sports chat, it's like, how were they able to, they spotted the ball. That was a bad spot. That was, because it looked like he got it. Like he just got it. But they marked him like a full yard short. And Dolphins got it back. And then Tua, it didn't matter because Tua ended up throwing a pick, and that ended up being the game. And Tyreek Hill actually wasn't on the field for that. So the Bills end up clinching the AFC East. Josh Allen, 359 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He had 67 yards rushing. James Cook had 36. Leonard Fournette had 20. Khalil Shakir was their leading receiver, 6 receptions for 105 yards. Stephon Diggs had 7 for 87. Dalton Kincaid had 7 for 84. Sherfield caught a touchdown. Dawson Knox caught a touchdown. Josh Allen obviously fumbled in this game. Taylor Rapp had a pick. That was the game-sealing pick, I believe. And then also Christian Benford also had a pick as well. And then as for Tua Tagovailoa, 17 of 27, 173 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Devon Achane, 56 yards, rushing and a touchdown. Tyreek Hill, of course, is their leading receiver. 7 receptions for 82 yards. And, holding back a sneeze. 7 receptions for 82 yards and a touchdown. And obviously, Christian Wilkins recovered a fumble. Eli Apple had a pick, and Deshaun Elliott had a pick as well. And yeah, so we said like this game, you could either be the 2 seed or you could miss the playoffs. But the Bills, fortunately for them, with the Jags losing, they didn't really have to. They didn't really have to worry. They were basically in the playoffs. They just, it was depending on now the seeding, and because of them winning, they go from they were at the 6, they're all the way up to the 2 now. Now the Dolphins are down to the 6, and now they got to go play Kansas City. And the Bills, they'll be playing the Steelers next week. Now, regarding that game, there's going to be no TJ Watt, which is unfortunate for the Steelers because, he's the quarterback of the defense. And, with him not being there, it's I don't like the Steelers' chances. Now, Josh Allen has turned the ball over a lot. That's going to happen at least once a game. So I think, the Steelers, it could be a closer game than people think. But I think without TJ Watt, that it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. I think the Bills should win that game. Obviously, we'll talk about it later in the week. But listen, the Bills, I don't look at they're not the same team that they've been, the past couple of playoff runs. Well, I shouldn't say last year because they almost lost to Skylar Thompson, and then they got dominated by the Bengals at home. But, this is not the same Bills team. They have injuries, and again, Josh Allen is turning the ball over a lot. So, we'll see. And then as for the Dolphins, you got to go play the Chiefs in Arrowhead. And, listen, Tua is a different quarterback without Tyreek Hill on the field. And he throws a pick when Tyreek Hill isn't on the field, to end the game. And obviously, Tyreek is still banged up, with the ankle injury. And they're without Waddle. They were without Mostert. Guys on defense so they're missing guys on defense. And now they got to go to Arrowhead. Now, can they win that game? Well, I mean, the temperatures for the game, it is going to be brutal. It looks like it's not good. Not good for the Dolphins. But again, like the Chiefs have not been great on offense all year, but banged up Dolphins offense, missing some guys. You're going up against the Chiefs defense, which has looked good this year. The best defense that Patrick Mahomes has had. That is good. That is an uphill battle for the Dolphins. We did see them go into Buffalo last year. This year was different because it was earlier in the year. It wasn't cold yet, and the Bills destroyed them. But last year they did lose the game, but they were competitive in the cold weather and the snow. But they got to get guys back. Like, you got to get Waddle back. You got to get Mostert back. I don't know what their status is for this game. It's only Monday, so obviously we'll find out later in the week. But yeah, it's this was because if the Dolphins ended up winning this game, they would have played each other next week, the Dolphins and the Bills. So the Bills, this is a big win for them because now, they got a top 2 seed, and depending on what happens next week, we could be seeing Mahomes having to go to Buffalo to take on Josh Allen instead of it being the other way around, where it's always, Josh Allen having to go play Mahomes in Arrowhead. Because the last time, I'm getting ahead of myself, but the last time they played in Buffalo was, I think it was the COVID year. It was the COVID year they played. So we'll see what ends up happening. But listen, outside of the Ravens and the Niners, for the most part, it's an even playing field. You just have no idea. Some of these games next week, the 2 seeds, the Cowboys and the Bills, I feel like they should win their games. I'm more confident in Dallas than I am with the Bills, just because, again, Josh Allen turning the ball over, it's an issue. But we'll see. We'll see what ends up happening. But listen, for the Bills, they can go far. They definitely can. The biggest thing is got to limit the turnovers. That really is what they have to do. And obviously be better with the clock management at the end of the first half. That was a huge blunder. But listen, this team could go all the way. With the Dolphins now having to go to Arrowhead and it's going to be really cold. Yeah, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. But if they can get their guys back, then they got a good shot. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. And that game actually is going to be on Peacock. So if you don't have that, make sure to download it. Luckily for me, my cousin has let me use hers, which I'm happy about. But again, for a lot of other people, they don't have, they might not have access to it. So it's like you're going to miss a playoff game, and it's going to be a good one. Chiefs and the Dolphins. Tyreek Hill, we're talking, a lot of people talking about, Matthew Stafford making his return to Detroit, next Sunday. We're going to see Tyreek Hill making his return to Arrowhead. So that's going to be on Saturday. The Steelers and the Bills are playing each other on Sunday. That's the first game. That's a 1 o'clock game. Yeah, super wild card weekend. No, I'm excited. It's just it stinks that the regular season is over. So actually, the other thing is what I did with my spread pool this week, because I have to bring that up at least once a show. I picked a little differently in both pools. I ended up getting 12-1 and 9 in my own. Still didn't win anything. The people ahead of me in the one that I had a better chance ended up getting. Actually, the two winners, the one in mine, my friend won this week, getting 14, and the other one, the person got 14. So I needed to get 15, and it just wasn't gonna happen. But yeah, but it was at least a good week. It was a good week. It was my best week. I exceeded my 7 or 8 wins. So I guess I can make picks after all. This was one of the games that I split. I took the Dolphins in one. I took the Bills in one because and it looked like it was going to be the Dolphins for a while, and then Hardy runs back that punt return, and that was and that changed the momentum of the game. So yeah, I don't know. The Dolphins having to beat Mahomes in Arrowhead is going to be tough. It's going to be really tough. The Bills, they got the Steelers, which I think they should win. Obviously, my dad is a Steelers fan, so obviously the rooting interest is going to be different. My heart is going to be with the Steelers. My head is going to say, well, I think the Bills should still win, especially with T.J. Watt being out. But I think even with Josh Allen turning the ball over, even with him being out, Josh Allen's going to turn the ball over at least once. And the Steelers got to capitalize on it, So, but yeah, these playoffs are going to be interesting because it just, you don't really know. You really have no idea. And honestly, I like it. I like that because it makes it's better to not know, because there's some years where you're like, yeah, this team is going to go all the way. Look at what Tom Brady and the Patriots. It wasn't every single year, but it was every other year, and they were. Pretty much every year they were in the AFC Championship game at least. But this is one of those years where you just really have no idea. So. Even though there is a couple of teams that you could probably say that the teams that got the byes, you would think are going to get there, but we'll see. We will see. So with that, we're going to take our final break of the show, and then when we come back, we're going to talk about these playoff matchups, but also we're going to preview the national championship, because that's the big game that is on tonight. So we will get into that when we come back from our final break of the show. So stick around, and we'll be right back here on the GSMC Football Podcast.